Good morning, Floss Tube. Pam, stitching between the lines on a blustery, snowy Friday, April 10th, 2020. Day, I don't know, 110 of house arrest. I'm trying to stay out of the picture a little bit because I know, we're kind of trying to show little bits and pieces of the house we just moved into. I'm going to touch the screen. I'm sitting at the breakfast bar that looks into the kitchen. And we were directly up above last time in the loft that looks down over the kitchen. So can you hear the wind? Can you hear that? I'm going to touch this here. See if we can get, that's the lake. The lake that we live on. Our yard slopes down. You see this big maple tree. You only, you only just see, I don't know, what do we think? Probably what you see starts 6 feet up off the ground and along the yard to the lake. This room used to be a sunroom when the house was first built. We're the second owner, so we just certainly didn't make any of these changes, but the house was built, as a couple's retirement home, and this is not the first time we've bought a house that was built to be somebody's retirement home. And sometimes my husband and I have our entire adult life renovated and worked on and remodeled houses, so understanding the sort of like floor plan and how big things are and what it'll feel like to be inside it with four walls, not just looking at it flat on a piece of graph paper or on a blueprint. But that's not something that comes instantly and naturally to people. So in this house and in another house, our Florida house, there was some very, very poor decisions made, I think, without the understanding of space, what space looked like in 3 dimensions versus looking at it on a blueprint. So anyway, the kitchen as originally built was very small. So they enclosed the screened-in porch and expanded, the kitchen counter and put in this breakfast bar, which you can sit at on 2 sides, looking out into the breakfast or the eating area, or looking into the kitchen, which is how I'm sitting. So anyway, that's where we're sitting. I don't know if you can see the snow. You can certainly hear the wind, and if you could see, the lake is very angry today. I know you can't really see that because it's pretty gray. In fact, you can't even see the other side of the lake because of how gray it is. But there's white caps out there, which are not the norm on one of the Finger Lakes. But it's still early spring. We can have snow up into Mother's Day. So snow on April 10th is not like the most traumatic thing we've ever seen. So anyway, there's a little bit of a peek at some more of our living space. I'm going to angle you just a tiny bit and then see if I can redirect the camera to me. So anyway, I did a few things since my last video because, we're stuck at home. And I just wanted to come back and have a visit. I've actually caught up since last week when I videoed, and this week I've caught up on all my floss tubes. I looked this morning, there's one more video, a new video for me to watch. And so anyway, I don't know about you guys. I heard some people are saying they've, not been able to catch up, but I think a lot of us have enjoyed some of the regular, more frequent videos from people. So that's what I'm doing. Plus I have things to show. So last week I talked about how I'm trying to finish all the things that were still going on from Mania last year. And I've been working diligently to finish things up. And I had, things were sort of falling into a week by week. Things seem to take me a week to finish. And that seems like a kind of nice amount of time. I'm not going to guarantee I'm always going to be able to do a whole week on something. More than likely, it'll be more than a week because once I really get going on something, I don't like to put it down. But I talked about last week that I had been working on Crazy Annie's stitching her 2019 ornament series, and they are designed by Annie B's Folk Art. I don't know how any of that is connected. I don't know. I don't know if Annie B's is Crazy Annie. I don't know. Sorry. So this is just an example. I have not stitched this one yet. That is the one I have not stitched. So I had been going around and doing all the borders. And, oh, okay. Make a liar out of me. Sorry. I just made things up as I went. Let me just look in my bag and not get too upset that I was ill prepared. I grabbed the bag and came to join you guys and didn't pull out what I had stitched. I figured it was just right in here. So anyway, I finished 2 ornaments, almost finished a third, and then have a fourth to do once the border is done, which I spent all last week doing. And then I managed to get this one done. Cute, right? Snowman, I left out on this picture, they didn't stitch where the year was. And this is not 2019, it's 2020. And I kind of looked at how it would fit in there, and it wouldn't once you moved a 2 into where the 1 belonged and then made the 9 into a 0. I just thought we would just make him a full-on snowman. So he's a full-on snowman. And out of this pattern, there's not a picture for me to show. I decided not to do the 25 because I discovered there is another pattern in there, like another gift pattern. Even included the buttons for both of them. I decided the number 25, I know it's a Christmas ornament, but it just didn't do anything for me. So I stitched the little ornament that was included inside. The plaid's cute. I don't know. I just start stitching with the called for colors. Because there's not a picture, I sort of kind of didn't know where it was going to end up. So it's plaid. It's kind of pink. Whatever. And then I started this one. And honestly, I was so sick of these that by Sunday night, this is how far I was. And there is virtually no stitching left on this. But I did not even sneak into Monday morning to finish this. I don't even know what it needs. Let me look. Oh, some more greens over here. I put it away. Said, you're done. I'll get you out when it's your turn again. And then I'll do this last one, which I think is the hot cocoa. It's the hot cocoa one. I was saving my 2 favorites for the end, and that was the hot cocoa. Sorry, it's in here. And the skate. So there's hot cocoa. That'll be cute. I'll be able to knock that out in one evening. So that was not a whip from Mania. That was one of the starts I had in December. New Year, maybe? I was going to do one a month, and then I took them with me when we went away, and the only thing I did was make borders and maybe did one ornament. And so once I was doing that and discovering how easily it would be for me to put it down and never pick it up again because those borders were not enjoyable, I thought, just plow through, just keep doing it. And then I pulled out, to be this week's stitching, this was a Mania start, Jardin Privé's Marquis, and I had some of, I don't even know when this came out, and I don't think it's out, I don't think you can get it anymore, some of DMC's linen threads. So I went through and I picked out 4, because there's only 4 colors in here. I picked out the 4 most similar colors and started stitching it, and I only had 1 day's work on it. And if I put the picture here, from Mania. And so starting Monday, I have done all this, which is really a lot. I thought it would go faster. I got kind of tired of making leaves, so I've dropped off on this side of the dress, but I love the way this dress looks so much like brocade. It really is cool. But this fabric, which is an even weave, is super rough, super rough. And then the linen threads are very rough, and the linen threads can be a little slubby. So it's kind of a challenge, a little tiny bit of a challenge. I am afraid I'm going to run out of this particular color, and so I pulled out the regular old DMC equivalent, and it's a perfect match. So I may have to convert over and start using that on some of the other motifs. So she's almost done. For sure her dress will be done before Sunday, and probably the palace. And I'd like to do a big one of the motifs before I put it away. It's kind of fun. Oh, and did you notice? Honest to God, this is not the first time. Not the first time lately that my idea of a center is nowhere near the center. I think, Stitchmania last year, it was the first year I ever did it. I liked the way I did it. I saw that Dina of Half Stitch Cross Stitch is planning to do it the same way, where she counts her whips and then only starts as many starts as it takes to get to 20. So I think last year in May, I think I was away every single weekend, and if not every single one, then there was only one at home. So it was a little bit of a chaotic stretch of time. So I don't know I don't know anything about the day when I sat down to do this one, and I really got my middle calculation a little whacked out. The only thing that goes under her dress is alphabet. This is almost the top of the palace. I don't think I would have taken this to be framed anyway. I don't know what I'm doing with it at this point. When I first bought the pattern, I had a vision that we had a bedroom in in our old house that had some real antique furniture in it, and I really thought that would go in there, but I don't have that bedroom anymore. So there we go. And then hold on to your hats. I have an FFO, right? Other than framing, I hardly ever get anything FFO'd. It's just not what I like to do. And somewhere in my walking from here to there, I've lost the pattern. Oh, there it is. It slid off. Excuse me. This was a Mania start, and I worked on it this was a Mania whip. So it was a whip last year at Mania, and I think I'd only worked on it one day prior to that. And then in Mania, I worked on it, and I was having a really hard time getting anywhere. And then as soon as I got out of that white house in the middle and got going, I really enjoyed it. And so here it is. I had the pillow. It was a gift a number of years ago, so I had the pillow that it shows it on, so I didn't change any colors. And I was thinking I'd put it on the plaid side, but as you see, the plaid side's where the pocket is, so didn't do that. Put it on this side, came with the buttons. It's cute. Our basement family room has some light blue furniture. In fact, there's a couple chairs that are upholstered in something very similar to this. So I'm going to take it down there and see how it looks sitting in a chair. So that's what I've done. I do not know what I'm going to pick out of my whip pile to be next week's project. I have a couple things I showed you last week. Jack's Tree Farm only needs one more installment, and then that's done. And then my ornaments, I only need to finish that skate, which is 10 minutes of stitching, I would think. Probably that means it's an hour of stitching. And then one more ornament, so I could have those two finishes. I know there's a whip thing that Mania start that I never worked on beyond the first day or so. I really think that could be done in just a couple days, but I haven't pulled that out. I'm not ready to go to show all my Mania things yet. Murphy just joined the party. I'm not sure if he'll come up. You coming up to see me? Murphy and I were at odds in the other room earlier, so I wasn't really sure how he was feeling about visiting, but maybe he'll come up on the chair next to me. We'll see. So anyway, most of my time has been spent unpacking boxes. Let me see. Oh, he's down there. He likes this rocking chair. So I thought he was getting in it, but he's down by my feet. And I'm tired. Sometimes I'm just sick and tired of unpacking boxes. So I've tried to only work on things around the house in the morning, and then in the afternoon do something I feel like doing. So I've actually had my sewing machine out. I've made masks and sent masks to my kids and like that. and I want to make myself one more mask. I went to the grocery store yesterday and wore my mask. Every single person in the store had their mask on. You know, I'm from New York, not New York City. Look at a map. And but still, the rate of spread is alarming. My county still reports a very, 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 very low number, but I'm going to attribute that to lack of testing because I found online a list of counties, of the specific area counties, and how many people are positive, and how many people have recovered, and how many tests have been given. And on Monday, when I found this list, it was 7. So now, when I saw the list again on Wednesday night, it was 80 something had been tested. So I expect there will be a certain amount of jump. So it's delusional to think it's not out there. So anyway, I went to the grocery store, wore my mask. Every single person in the store that was a customer had a mask. So as much as I thought it would feel weird, it did not. The employees didn't have masks, and the people there stocking shelves didn't have masks, but they were very respectful about moving out of the way when you came along. So I have appreciated that about my own little local grocery store. So I do like that. I had complained to you all, right, last week about my experience at my old area Wegmans. Still could be my it's still the closest Wegmans. And then I saw in the newspaper, that city's local newspaper, somebody wrote a letter to the editor about how they felt, and it pretty much mimicked what I said. So there's talk about limiting, like, how many people can go in at a time. And some things. There's things that so easily do. An entire family does not need to go into the grocery store together. If everybody needs to go in and make a selection, then you can go in separately. Aisles could be one way. As you know, aisles aren't anywhere near wide enough, especially when an entire group is clustered around a cart. So anyway, I hope they make some changes now that somebody has really brought it to their attention. I can't believe they didn't know already, because they put sneeze guards up and there's Purell everywhere and wipes, big huge dispensers of wipes and sanitizer by the front door. So I don't know. So anyway, we're just hopeful we can get through this. I don't imagine for a minute that somebody close to my family won't get it, but we're hoping it's late enough in this whole process that there's good treatments and a better understanding. So anyway, that's it. That's all I'm talking about, that stuff. So, okay, back to the unpacking boxes. That was the whole point of this, right? So it's in my sewing area, and I saw this box, and I thought, that is such a nice box to store things in. Lets me go get it, because I don't have nearly the storage space I used to. It has a handle, it folds in nice. Can you tell that it's full? I went over to get it. It was full. I thought, what the heck? No. I keep my cross-stitch patterns and kits in containers, like file box containers. And one box has folders by designers. So there's designers that I have lots of their patterns, like Prairie Schooler and Little House and Country Cottage and Lizzie Kate and that kind of stuff. And then there's another box, there's folders by season. So fall, summer, spring, winter, and probably Christmas is its own. And then there's a box that's sort of like just a pile of kits, because I overflowed the 2 boxes I started with. So where and exactly how these were stored when I needed to pack up my old sewing box so that they ended up in this box, I'm not really clear. But I thought maybe, there's been lots of stash diving, so I'm going to have a coronavirus 2020 stash dive video. And we're not even going into the boxes that are filed in logical order. We're just going to look through some of this. And it's not all recently purchased. Sometimes, I know I'm not the only one who does this, I'll paw through stuff and I'll pull some things out and think, I'd like to do some fall things, and then they end up in a heap or a pile somewhere, and then they're there. I don't know. If I keep doing this, we lose some of the sun. Glare. So anyway, I found this little beauty's in here. Does anybody know what this is? This was last year. Was at that time, I think we understood it to be like a market exclusive. Bought it at market. It comes with the cup. Now you see it available. So I think that's that sort of like exclusive thing that comes out in a year. I thought maybe I would stitch this, so I left it out on the floor again and walked past it for a week. It's so cute. You think you could knock that out in a day, so that's what I'd think. I don't know. Some of my days don't pan out exactly like I think. That's in here. Also in here is a project bag full of let me find one I can show you. Full of Open Road Abode Needleworks patterns. I'm a fan because I talked about her and showed her on FlossTube, and she got a huge response. She sent me patterns. She gifted me patterns. So it's not that I necessarily bought that one with the truck on it. It's just in here with all of the patterns. Still a big fan. Grew up camping. We raised our kids going camping. A lot of our best vacations were that way. It's a lot more fun to stay in your camper you're familiar with than a hotel room. I know, I think you sleep better, whatever. This is in here. This cute little Lizzie Kate. Blackbird house. Fabric is in there. Linen. How's that for a color? A lot darker than it shows in the picture. And I'm going to tell you, that picture looks like it's some of the gingham plaid. You don't think that's plaid? That's okay. This is in here. I'm not sure I ever showed you I bought this. Every time I went to my L&S, it was on her new shelf. And I just thought, I want that. But then I'd look at it and I wouldn't buy it. And the reason is, here's the reason. And I'll tell you this again and again when I stitch it. First of all, I worked for the court system for 14 years. And I used to, the elementary school used to do, well, I'm sure they do. I'm the one who is not there anymore. They did a field trip where they came down to the town hall and they visited all the departments, and they came to the court, of course, and I know I was their favorite because they would never want to leave. And I would do a presentation about what court's for, at a kid level. They're 10, maybe at best 9. So, and I also have visited classrooms when, if a teacher was doing a unit on some way, shape, or form that had something to do with a court or criminal justice or whatever, and I would go and talk. So one of the things I used to talk about was what she stood for, Lady Justice, what she stood for, and what her symbols stood for. And I hear a cat. Hey, kitty, what's wrong? One of the things I never really talked about was her sword. And the reason is when when you see a court seal or whatever, and if Lady Justice is on it, this is not prominently. She's got her arm down and it's down along her side. It represents swift justice, what I say goes, kind of like the gavel, done. We're done. We're done talking about it. What I said is what goes. I don't really like that it's a sword that symbolizes that, but I understand her origins are much older than our feeling about weapons, I guess. And also, I have to say, none of my Lady Justices were dressed in this kind of color. So, I'm not really sure what I feel about the color, but I like it. So, I bought it, because this is how it came, with the beads and the pattern. And I still very much want to stitch it. Didn't Pam of Pam and Stuff just keep stitching? I think she started it too. She worked as a librarian in the court system in Ohio, right? And I've got some amount of something wrong with that, but she was at a higher I don't know what level, higher than a town court, which is where I was. So anyway, I just love that. So she's in that box. I don't know where I got a lot of these. Here's Primitive Hair. I'm pretty sure I thought maybe I was going to stitch this one at one point recently. She's still in her little, oh, there's Murph again. She's still in the thing it comes in. I like that. I actually like all of the little pillows and everything that come with it. This one I bought when I went years ago. My daughter was in college, a freshman in college. We went to visit her, and we went to a little town outside the city where she was in college and walked around, and there's a really neat, unusual 5 and dime in that town, and like right next door was a cross stitch store. So I went in, I popped in, and I bought this pattern there. And my intent was, because I had like, from being in Fabric of the Month clubs, I had like a lot of orange fabric. Orange is my least favorite color. It really only belongs in pumpkins and leaves in the fall. I thought this would be cute to make with a piece of orange fabric. Have I done it? Clearly not. Picked this one up somewhere along the line. It's in this box for whatever reason. Kind of a nice sentiment. Came from ABC Stitch. It's got its tag on it. Fully kitted. I believe I considered starting this one at Christmas time last year, or thereabouts, or the year before. I don't remember. Oh, interesting. No explanation. Oh, maybe we can have an explanation. I did this. This was Lizzie Kate's first Halloween mystery. This is the only one I did. This is part 3, and I believe whatever the freebie was that came in month 3. Oh, I actually have all the parts, I think. Whatever the freebie was in here, I believe I wanted to stitch it. Let's look. Let's take a little road trip together. Oh, I did stitch it. I can't show you because I only have the pattern. There's no picture for it. I'm sorry. It says scary. It doesn't look like any of these things. And I forgot why there was linen in here. Unless it was for that thing. I didn't do it on that color, though. I did it a whole different... Huh, I don't know. Maybe another one of them had a freebie that... See, I have part 1. Oh, this is true. I did not do it. This is the green fabric to do it on. What I did was the one that came in part 1. I see the pattern on the back. I'm sorry. It's no fun that I can't show you anything. I have part 2 as well with the fabric and actually the thread in there to do whatever the freebie was in there. So anyway, I don't know that I've ever shown you my completed. I get it out at Halloween. I don't know where it is right now. Oh, it's got to be away in a box. I have all the pictures I took down off the wall and wrapped in bubble wrap and brought here. Whatever I haven't figured out where to put yet. It's in the living room, and so I just keep walking by them and like thumbing through them and thinking, is there a spot for this one yet? Do I have a spot for that one? This is in the box. Isn't that cute? All Through the Night, it has some of the neatest patterns. They're the ones that have like the 3 snowmen that are all wearing like pants or something. Lost and Floss was stitching them all on one. Barb was stitching all 3. I have one of them, not in here. Oh, look, here's another All Through the Night. Isn't that cute? And this is a piece of wool. Flannel. The pattern calls for flannel. You could use whatever works. Piece of wool. You could stitch it the best you could. It doesn't come, there's not a version. It's just an outline on the pattern. So really, the only thing stitched is this. I just think that's really cute. In all honesty, there's a lot of patterns with cauldrons or flower pots or things like that, or stockings, that you could stitch that and then just fill it with this. That would be cute. Oh, I think I got a valuable pattern here in my hand. Oh, primitive needle. Annie Hyssop's Harvest Moon. Look at that. I should put this in the safe, right? This was a freebie that I got somewhere. Gotta love me some Sue Hillis. Probably I was thinking about doing some spring things at one point, and this came out. No idea where and why I got this one out. This is Diane Grabner's, one of hers. They're all very classic designs, almost recognizable. There's not a little Amish. These are Amish children. We have Mennonite around us. I can tell by the bonnet. And oftentimes there's some children in there, in her patterns. Ooh, here's a drawn thread. One of the simple samplers, Simply Autumn. I did one of them. I did the Halloween one, I think. I did a Christmas one. I did a Christmas one with Santa. That's cute. This is a fun one. I believe I considered doing this one time in the summer. Pulled it out to give it thought. I just let, it's, the fabric's in there. I don't feel any thread in there, but there might, oh, there's thread in there. I can see it. That'd be a quick one. Savior's Praise was in there. A whole lot of Mill Hills were in here. These I got as gifts, I think. I have a Mill Hill that's part of my whip from Mania that I started a couple years ago. I am trying really hard. I got it out and worked on it a few times. I'm having trouble holding a piece of perforated paper that's this big. So I bought the little frame that you tack it onto, and that's not any easier to hold. So I'm going to try and see if I have a floor stand with, I don't know the brand, but you can clamp whatever into it. I'm considering putting it back on its little wooden frame and clamping it into that thing to see if I can do any better. Because I have some fun ones. I really love these. I have a number of the frames too. I really need to figure out how to make these work, how to make this work for me. Isn't that cute? Oh, there's a bunch of them. I have an exchange partner. I've talked about her before. We used to do a monthly exchange, and now we just do birthday and Christmas exchange, and I know I put a bunch of these on my wish list, so these are from her. Thank you very much, Rebecca. I love that. I love that. These socks, these kind of socks remind me. Okay, because I know you all are stuck home just like me, so I really feel like you maybe can relate. My husband is not working at home all the time, a couple days a week, or he'll come home after lunch and work the rest of the day or whatever. Now, I don't mind having my husband around generally. He's not like an interruption or anything, but he works down in the basement in the family room down there, and, whatever. But when you're stuck home for days and days and weeks and whatever, possibly the people in your house that you're stuck home with aren't exactly what you need when you need a little bit of a social life. The other day, I was wearing my big fluffy fleece socks, like big fluffy. They're the kind you put into your like rain boots, like those kind of socks. And I'm sitting in my stitching chair, which is, here's the thing about a house on a lake. Here's the thing. A house on a lake, the front yard is the lake side, and the backyard is where you drive up from the road. So I face the backyard. I'm going to call them all kinds of names, whether it's the front yard or the backyard. We live on a little private lane. There's no cars. There's no people. And none of the people are around because it's like mostly it's seasonal residences. So I'm sitting there the other day in my chair, my big fluffy socks on, and I saw somebody walk by. I'm like, whoa, how fast can I get some shoes? How fast can I get shoes on? And go out there and like walk to the mailbox, because our mailbox are all in a cluster down the road. And then I'm like, oh, but I gotta go get socks on and then shoes on and then get my coat and then get out there. So they're gonna be like all the way up to the main road by the time I'm all organized. And so, is that desperate? It sounds a little desperate. So I'm telling my husband the story that night, and he said, you need to call somebody up, and you guys need to go in your cars to a parking lot and sit in the, 6 feet apart and sit in your cars and visit. Look at it, it's true. It kind of is true. So anyway, later that day or the next day, because, I have lost all track of time, I had my first ever Zoom meeting, right? You've all heard about Zoom by now. It's simple thing to do. Zoom.com. create a login, invite some friends via email, all right there, self-explanatory, or, just follow along. And you can set up a time for a meeting. So we had a book club meeting on Zoom on Wednesday, and it worked really well. And so then I have a ladies group at church who's been meeting by Zoom every Thursday morning. I have not joined them prior to Thursday, but I did join them. And so we visited for a couple hours, and we can stitch, or they knit and whatever, do other things, and just visit amongst ourselves. So then after lunch, there was a big text conversation going on with my quilting friends. And I said, let's do a Zoom meeting. And so 3 of us, me and 2 of the other 3 ladies, did it. The other one was busy. She has some family staying with her, so she couldn't do it right then and there. So the 3 of us did it and visited for, I'd say half an hour, but maybe longer, because Zoom, if you're an unpaid subscriber, allows you 40 minutes. And we had discovered just this week only, I don't know, that they were forgiving the 40 minutes. We didn't really know why or anything, but so I was the organizer of the meeting, so the window popped up for me about the 40 minutes. So maybe that happened at the 40-minute point. I don't know. None of us are looking at our clocks because none of us have anywhere to go. So anyway, they said, they were forgiving the 40 minutes. And then when I was closing down the meeting gathering, I'm calling it a meeting when you're just chatting with friends. Seems a little silly, but that's what it's there for. It said if I set up another one, they'd forgive the 40 minutes on that one as well, but we hadn't made arrangements of another time and date to gather. So I don't know if it's going to always work that way, but what the ladies at church had determined to do is, when you're inviting somebody to a meeting, like if you're the organizer, they get an email with a link to join. And I only sent out the one with the one link. That's all I did. I don't know anything about how they did this, but I'm sure I could figure it out. So when we get the one from church, they include 3 links. So if you're bumped out after 40 minutes, then you go back, everybody clicks into the second link. And so it's almost like a whole next meeting, another gathering meeting, whatever. So you can do that. If they're still holding everybody to only 40 minutes and you'd like to sit and stitch and visit with somebody for the whole afternoon, then I would set up a meeting every 40 minutes so that all the links go to the people that you say, that you put in their email, and then you'll just click down through them. So anyway, that's my long way around, and what the big fluffy socks reminded me of. I was going to discuss Zoom anyway. It was kind of a neat way to gather and discuss and visit and catch up. So anyway, because I don't have Floss with all my friends, my stitchy friends, yes, but those other friends I don't get to see. Some more Mill Hill in this box. There is one of Kelly Stodola's things in here. I forgot its name. I have a couple of them. I have another one. It's with a project somewhere. Come on. These little ditties I got years ago. These were a gift from my friend who we do exchanges with. They are, I'm looking at the name to see, doodles for leftovers. And it comes with a little pattern and a little button. And then you just, find a little scrap of fabric and you make up this little ornament. I have done one of them, at least one of them. It's an ornament. It has something to do with a sailboat. There's a sailboat on was the button. So I think I got this with something. It's ambigrams. Funk and Weber Designs. Now, that's not a name you hear anymore. And actually, I didn't hear it a whole lot. Years ago, it had to have been back in the blogging days. I believe they lived in Alaska, these folks, this designer. And she had a contest. Oops, sorry. one of my kids. And she had a contest, and it was all word games because her stitching had often had a lot of things to do with puzzles and words. And every day there was a clue. And at the end, if you got them all right, she did a drawing of the people who got all 5 days right. There might have been 5 days of puzzles and then one thing that brought all those, I don't remember. Or you needed to figure out all 5 puzzles in order to make a sentence. I don't really remember, but I did it and I won, was one of the winners, and I got a pattern, and someday I'll find it. It's in my box somewhere. It's a picture of a jigsaw puzzle. And I think this was a free pattern that came in there. And you see how that's the word study, but if you turn it upside down, right? Isn't that what it is? It looks like the same word forwards and backwards. Nope. It is the word study. I don't remember. Oh, okay. Here we go. It's upside down and right side up. Right? I don't know. That's what they show for the word read that's up here. I can even see that from here, that it's the same word forwards and backwards. Okay, so next, when I'm done with you guys, I'm going to be Googling what an ambigram is. Oh, all right. Story is an asymmetrical ambigram. When turned upside down, it spells reads. Let's try that again. I do see how that works. Read is a symmetrical ambigram, spelling the same word right side up and upside down. Look at, you came here today and you learned things. That's your homeschooling for the day. In my box of goodies is a book. The stockings were hung, so it's a book full of stockings. Because I feel there might be some stockings in my future. Oh, don't you love this one? Seaside Stitches. I am pretty darn sure I bought this because somebody showed it and I had to have it. Pam of Just Keep Stitching, I'm pretty darn sure. Let's look outside again. Let's have a little check-see outside because I can see it. I don't know if you guys can see it. You might be able to see it in these windows. It is snowing sideways. I don't know. The color of the great outdoors should be indication enough that there is something weather-wise going on. We're gonna meet here in this spot again someday, and we're going to see what a beautiful blue lake this is. Another Mill Hill in there. Another book about oops. A little book about stockings. A big book about stockings. A Hirschner's book. This actually has a picture for each season, but I bought this one because of the sailboat. I'm pretty sure I bought it. I'm pretty sure it wasn't a freebie. There's a clearance sticker on it, but that doesn't mean I bought it. Come on. Don't you absolutely love what is known as UB Designs? Oh, this is... I don't even know what to say. Let me see if I can just find a picture. Oh, find a picture of something we must stitch. Isn't it pretty? Pretty, pretty, pretty. All the things are pretty in this book. Pretty and fun. Sorry. I don't mean to take time away. I just didn't know what was in this box. Did not know what we were going to encounter. I'm going to try not to show any pattern. I'm going to... How's that? Very pretty. Lots of German. Oh, it's, Merry Christmas in all the languages. Not all, but, There's French, there's Spanish, there's German and English. Pretty. That's a pretty book. This one, I'm not really sure why I bought it, except, I don't know. I think it was a whim. I know I bought it, though. The Princesses. I am not entirely certain. I don't know. There it is. Hiding in the box. I have a whole bunch of these. It was a hands-on design monthly series, and my friend gave me a whole bunch of them. She said, don't buy them, I'll give them to you. So I listened to her. Right? You know, and now we're by the lake. So, hello. Not so much pelicans and flamingos at a lake, but all the nautical themed things, like that one. Perfect. More. Nice. Back to the beginning, right? I have a lifetime and then some of stitching possibilities. There's an ornament issue in here, and a cross stitcher in here. Ooh, another coveted pattern. Oh, and then there's like some recent things, right? Bunny Hill Designs is a quilt designer that I love, and they have fabric and they do quilts, and apparently breaking a little bit into cross stitch. I remember I ordered those from the Fat Quarter Shop when they were very newly selling cross stitch. Oh, look at this stocking pattern. How cute is that? Isn't that the cutest? We're big into gingerbread house doing in our house. And we don't do like fabulous jobs or anything, but it's traditionally what we do on the day after Thanksgiving. And we just have a lot of fun with it, my girls and I. Oh, and there's a primitive punch needle in the bottom of the box. When is this one from? I do not know. Do not know. This might have been the first one where Vanna did a finishing tutorial. I'm going to leave it out. I might like to thumb through that when I'm having lunch. And in here again, which indicates, I know this was laying out. This was from when I went on the Midwest Cross Stitch Retreat in Amana. Was the box of goodies. Clearly haven't stitched them. October wasn't that long ago. I am still plowing my way through things, and basically my only new starts were my birthday and Christmas and a New Year's start, and those were all, you know, right smack close together. So, got some fun stuff here. I could probably go, you know, basically a long time on only these things, right? It's true. So there we have it. I think we'll see when I do another video. I'm sure it won't be that far away because I have nothing on my schedule. And especially if I have something interesting like another finish or another FFO, which you never know. I had a shelf. I had some metal shelves in my sewing room in my old house that I don't have anymore. So I'm, you know, struggling a little bit with where to put everything. And in this house, when we bought it, they left in the family room in the basement, they left us their TV armoire, like big and tall, and had the doors that opened and slid back in. Well, it fits a kind of small TV, so we decided that we would put our own TV down there and put the armoire in a little niche that was in the room. So I have put some shelf units inside the main part of the armoire where a TV would go. And that's where I'm going to store my finishing things. So my plan is in the next day or two, I don't know, today I'm not really feeling it, is to get back down there. This week's job has been organizing and tidying downstairs. And my husband, when he works down there, those days don't count. So I was going to go down there today, but it's so windy, it's going to be cold down there because there's sliding glass doors that open out to the lake, and the wind is coming from that direction, so downstairs is not going to be pleasant. Anyway, I plan to sort my finishing FFOing supplies into that area, that cupboard, and so maybe that'll spur me on to FFO something else. I'd like to get the word plays, at least a couple of them done, because I have the tray I intend to fit them on. I even have a template for an oval. I don't know. Nothing makes me want to do it, so we'll see. So I'm sure I'll be back in another week or so, like I said, if I have anything worth showing. And soon, because it's already April what? Today's April 10th. Soon we will be going through what my mania is going to look like. And I pulled out lots of things that were kitted. I need to check that they're fully kitted and then maybe place an order. I haven't bought anything in I don't know how long. I showed you purchase. Oh, from Market. Like that wasn't that long ago. It just feels like a lifetime ago. So, if I have to do, I'll order some threads. One pattern I got out and was thinking I might start, I went through my DMC box because it takes DMC, and I only had like half of them. I thought that was weird because I have a lot. And our Joann's is not doing any kind of like curbside pickup or anything, so I'm not sure. I'm sure I have plenty of threads to get started on it, and when stores open again, I'll be able to, finish that. If I really need, I don't know. It's also complicated trying to plan, like, if I make a run to the store. I don't really want to be out in the world at this point in time, so. But I will manage, as you see. I mean, these weren't a lot of kits other than the Mill Hills. There were a couple things, but I had a lot of things kitted up already. That will be probably my focus for Mania, is just the simplicity of already having the supplies already with the pattern. So, and I can only imagine I have enough of them. I won't need 20 of them because there's going to be whips that carry over. So, anyway, hope everybody is doing well, stays well, and that you are enjoying your stitching time. I know in the beginning a lot of people said it was really hard to sort of switch gears. Knowing you can't go anywhere, even if you don't like to go anywhere, feels weird, because I generally like to be home, and I'm happy when I have a full day home, but it just feels weird. Like I said, it's the contact, a little bit like I'm like, want to go outside. I saw a pair of legs walk by the window, and I'm like ready to chase the person down. So there you go. It's what it does to us, being forced into the house. So anyway, it's all good. We will be fine. Imagine what it was like when people had to live through war. Yeah, this is a different kind of war. So have a good one. We'll see ya. Bye.